Okay, it's recording.
Yeah, see it.
So, how are you?
Another day, not too bad, not too bad.
All right, positive mindset. So, I want to know, and I'm pretty sure our audience would like to know as well, who is Carmelo Hernandez? So, if you could give like a brief overview of who you are.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for asking me to do this, and thank you for giving me this opportunity not only to share my story and myself, but also with your viewers as well. A little bit about me. I'm just a regular dude from the South Bronx that joined the military and then did the whole Iraq, Afghanistan spiel, and then came back, went to school, became a therapist, and now I'm a therapist. I just finished my second master's in organizational leadership. So my main, for me personally, my drive to become a therapist and to learn the whole how the mind works and the body and the mind-body connection was really to help veterans to deal with post-traumatic stress. What I ended up learning in my journey as from going to school and just overall in just life, to be honest, is that so many people suffer from trauma and are not really aware or don't really identify it as trauma. Well, I'll use myself as an example. Growing up in the South Bronx, in just the environment, it was not a healthy environment that caused a lot of trauma. And I'm not saying that my mom didn't try her best or Abuela didn't try her best. I'm just saying that they tried the best with what they knew. And this is also something that I see on a day-to-day basis with just clients that I serve, and just in the overall Latino and African American, culture. A lot of things happen: substance abuse, domestic violence, things of that nature, just environmental stuff, and we don't call it what it really is. And then we wonder why we have the diabetes, the high blood pressure, and all of that. Too much, serotonin and too much cortisol is kicking out due to being in just traumatic situations. So fight or flight mode. But my main goal is just to help people. One of the reasons I started the YouTube channel, it was already a plan. I started my own business, Operation Turnaround. Operation Turnaround is not really, it's something I learned in therapy. I learned in therapy that not everybody needs a therapist. Sometimes people just need that coach to help them get to that next level or achieve that goal. And that's where I came up with the idea of Operation Turnaround, in the sense of just grabbing your life and turning it around to wherever you want to go, wherever you want to be at. In the sense, sometimes people have the goals, people have the mindset. It's just about just tweaking certain things and putting it into perspective, like putting it on paper and being organized and disciplined for the execution piece. Sometimes we are our own worst critics and we get in our own ways and we don't know the why. And Operation Turnaround is just here to really help people to focus on the why. It just so happened, I kid you not, it was January. I had done all the paperwork for the LLC to become incorporated and stuff like that. And then the pandemic happened. So the YouTube channel at first started for me as a way to just market myself and market the brand and market the company. However, as things change, we got to be flexible. Now it's more along the lines, I believe, for me, I mean, as you all know, with YouTube, you need to have a certain amount of viewers, subscribers before you even receive a penny. So now for me, it's on the different aspect. It's more for free, because where this world is and where it's going, something I learned from just a business perspective. Abraham Lincoln was good at this. You always want to look at where you were, where you are, and where you want to be. And the reality is that right now, a big chunk of the world is stuck in the past. So I figured with the YouTube and putting out that mindset is really to get people prepared for where we're in and the possibility for how long and where you want to go. Because where you may want to go, it's ironic, but the world just may not take you there. So you have to be ready for that.
I agree. That's true. Okay, so you actually also answered a few of the other questions I had, about your occupation, your goals. So now the pandemic. So I love how, because I see it firsthand and I'm also doing it myself, how we've adapted. We basically, this pandemic, it took us by shock, right? But I feel like a matter of fact, I want to ask you, how do you feel? So having to work from home, right? And just being adaptable, and how did you deal with this?
To be honest, it was challenging for me in the perspective of I have kids and I have a family. If it was me by myself, it'd be a lot easier. But it's due to life experiences. I think I have unique life experiences due to the fact that I went to Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yeah.
So for me personally, this is what I first did. I clearly put myself in the mindset of, like I did when I went to Iraq and Afghanistan. Hey, I'm here. I'm at war. Everything else, it's there's nothing you could do about being at war. You're at war. That's it. I'm here in Iraq. I was there for 15 months. In Afghanistan, I was there for 12 months. So I knew I was there for that length of time. So I knew everything else didn't matter. So I couldn't cry about missing a birthday. I couldn't cry about freaking Christmas, Thanksgiving, anything like that. Yeah, if I got in touch with my mom or in touch with anybody else from the civilian world or the real world, I would be grateful. But realistically, mentally, I accepted, and I think that's a huge, huge piece. I accepted what I was in, the situation I was in. So that mindset I put with the pandemic. Okay, everything is closed. Okay, we gotta wear masks. Okay, this shit is outside. It's crazy out here. So mentally, I accepted that. It didn't bother me, to be honest, because I accepted my environment and where I was at. Where it became challenging for me was in the kids and the questions they ask and the things that they want. So that aspect for me was more challenging than anything because when I was deployed, I could rely on the person to my left and my right. I didn't have to worry about the children. They were safe at home, quote unquote safe. So for me, it's really just all about keeping it simple, not using complex answers. I think this has become too complicated for many people, and accepting where you're at. I think a lot of people are harping on, I want things to go back to the way they were. And I tell them, I tell even my clients, why? Why you want things to go back the way they were? Obviously, they weren't correct. And they ask me how. And I say, look, how can a hospital have only a month of PPE gear? How? How can our school system be so broken, and I'm talking about the New York City public schools, so broken that you don't have a plan? Mind you, a lot of people, I'm not saying you got to have a plan for a pandemic, but we went through September 11th. You've seen terror. You've seen the city come to a standstill before, not for this length of time, but you've seen it shut down before. So I asked myself, I think this pandemic shows a lot of things, but I'm a firm believer you change how you look at things and what you're looking at will change. I am a firm believer that this also not answers questions, it helps us ask questions. Maybe we don't need to work 40-hour weeks. Maybe everybody doesn't need to be in an office full of cubicles all day, every day. Maybe you have a shift. Maybe you have a break. Maybe parents put too much emphasis on teachers to raise their kids. Now you're forced to raise them. There's many different ways to look at this. And I think that a lot of it is anxiety. I think a lot of it is avoidance. And I really do believe this. I'm a firm believer. I used to say this all the time. I still say it to this day. When you lay down at night, you have to be held accountable. You got to hold yourself accountable for your truth. When you shut off those lights, you can't lie to yourself. Everyone knows their own bullshit. That's the reality. I think this pandemic has shut off the light on the world, and everybody has to face their own bullshit.
You have to face your own demons, your inner demons.
Yeah.
And I love, wow, it's crazy how the universe works. I love that you just mentioned this because I just got off the phone with a friend of mine, and we were just talking about this, how a lot of people are because of this pandemic, you're forced to face your demons, right? So now you're home. Now you may not have that outlet that you usually take, which is you go club. You go clubbing every day, every weekend. You go drink, you go smoke, you go do drugs, whatever it is that you do to basically, I guess, avoid your actual feelings. And it also goes back to being aware and accepting those feelings. When you dwell, it all comes back. And I speak of that from like firsthand experience. Emotions is not letting your emotions control you, but you do have to be aware of them and you do have to confront them because it's always going to come back. And if you dwell on it, it's going to come back worse. And then that's when people sink into depressions.
Almost definitely. And I think as a society, I believe everybody is one mind. Everybody is one conscience. And we all intersect and we all feed off of each other and we all dependable on each other. I think that a lot of emphasis at this point in time is put on the economy. Yeah, the economy's the shit, but what ran the economy was people. Yeah, our healthcare system has gone to shit, but what runs the healthcare system? People. And I think we're forgetting about the biggest asset. people. That's the biggest asset here is your human being to your left and your right. And I think this is one of the biggest things that I've seen for a while, and I'm really seeing it now. We have internal problems and we're looking for external solutions. There's no external solutions. You have to face those demons, and you got to get right. Diet, exercise, drink water. Like this is real. This is like take control of what you can. Keep it simple. A lot of people are worried about, oh, that job. Oh, I mean, and I understand it, rent, all that stuff. I get it. But guess what? If you're not ready physically, mentally, or emotionally, you come in threes, mind, body, and soul. If you're not ready for what's coming out there, what are you worried about? Because a lot of jobs, think about it. If your health is garbage and your job said, let's go back to work, if you're not an essential worker, you're probably scared because you know your health is garbage. So you're more prone to probably getting sick.
Mm-hmm. You're at risk.
Yeah.
So going back to like, you know, you feeling like we weren't as prepared as we should have been. This is something that this was already happening around November, if I'm not mistaken, because I recall my first experience, like my first encounter witnessing someone in the train. I was heading from the Bronx to Manhattan, and I think I was on the what's that train that goes into New Jersey?
The Path?
The Path. I was on the Path, and I looked to the left, and I seen this man with a mask. Then I looked to the other side. I see someone else with a mask and with gloves. So this was already happening in November. So, you know, basically one of my questions is, why did it take so long to, you know, basically let us know? To let us know and to help us take the precaution. Because if we would have did something then, you know, forget New Year's, forget Christmas, like this was already out. And people in Manhattan, I already saw them wearing their masks, wearing their gloves. So I feel like this could have been avoided to a certain extent. I mean, at least a decrease in like people getting sick and people dying. Like, what do you think about that?
I think it's stubbornness. I do believe that. I believe it's stubbornness. I believe that ego plays a huge role here. Yes, you are the greatest country. You are part of the greatest country. And people always believe that can't happen to me. A lot of people really believe the earth is flat, and a lot of people believe this COVID thing does not exist until it hits close to home. And that's a reality. A lot of people need to check their egos at a door. They really do, because was this flu season bad? Most definitely. Was COVID here way before February? Most definitely. That's a fact. We can't deny those facts. And this is why I say, why do you want things to go back the way they were? You want to be stubborn again? You want to have that ego again? Why? Those things didn't work. Don't look for happiness where you never found it, where you lost it. Why are you going to go back?
And I love that quote. I love when you
quote it.
I love it. I love it. You know, the truth of the matter here is that we will never be the same again.
Never.
It's something that has changed everyone. Whether they want to admit it or not, you cannot go back to living how you were after surviving a pandemic. Like, who does that? You know, this is something that years before, when I was a teenager, I never thought I see myself 2020 walking around with a mask, gloves. You know, you see this, you only see this in movies, in documentaries, in shows, in TV shows. But why is that portrayed in the shows or the movies or the documentaries? Yeah. That's my question too, because there's a show that I seen on Netflix that was about a virus that out in between.
Yeah.
Between on Netflix.
Yeah.
That show, when I went to the supermarket for the first time after like being home for like about a week and a half, when I went into Key Food and I seen how everything was, that they have security, that people were stealing chicken. I don't even live in a bad neighborhood. So for that to come over here, like, you know, I'm not even in the South Bronx right now, you know, stealing chicken. Are you serious? We have security. We have the 6 feet. You know, you can do all of that. And I always say, and I stress it, like, yes, you could wear your gloves, wash your hands. But once you leave that door, you're already putting yourself at risk.
Most definitely. And I think people are not, I think people are eager for the quick fix. And I said this earlier to a good friend of mine. I said, not everybody's meant to be on the journey with you. Not everybody's meant to be saved. You may want them to come with you, but they may not be ready. A lot of people, they want to hear, go 3 blocks, make a left, and there's a well there where you could drink water. And they're happy with that. Other folks are willing to go build the well, build the path, and go get it, right? Not everybody is ready and willing to do that. And when I say that to segue into this, no one is asking the real important questions. A lot of people say, wow, you're educated, you got 3 degrees. I say, those degrees don't make me intelligent. They just make me ask questions. One of the questions I say is, okay, social distancing has kept us safe to some degree. The mask, the gloves, and all that, right? Okay, fine. What happens now? What's next? If you can't tell me, if you're telling me staying home is the only way we can mitigate to the best of our abilities, then we really are here for the long run. But nobody's thinking long run. Everybody's thinking, oh, here soon, soon, soon. I can't wait. No. Start really preparing yourself for the long run. And when I say long run, I don't mean a month. Easily 18 months, 2 years, 3 years, maybe the rest of your life on this planet. That's a real fact. I told one of my clients this. She was like, oh yeah, tomorrow I'll start this the workout routine you gave me. And I say, why tomorrow?
Why not start today?
I said, how many tomorrows you think you have? I said, let's think about this. How long you been contemplating fitness? She says 4 years. I said, okay, so we're talking about 365 days times 4. She did the math, and I said, that's how many tomorrows you've been waiting for.
Wow. And why do you think people, is it the lack of discipline? What is it? Like, are you, is it because they're afraid of change? Well, that's one of the reasons you're afraid of change. Mm-hmm. And I know that that's something, a lot of people struggle with. But what do you think that is? Why do people put things off for tomorrow?
I think it's because we have numerous reasons, but I do believe that people believe that they will have a tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think people do. I think we take things for granted. We take so many things for granted. We take so many things for granted. Like, I served. I'm a veteran, infantryman. Like, I served, like, die hard. I know what it feels like to be on the battlefield. So I completely understand when people are, I mean, look at my shirt, Wounded Warrior Project. I completely understand when people are protesting my civil liberties. I get it. And I also understand the importance of being home to protect our elders, right? To protect the vulnerable population. I get both ways. But I ask this question, and I tell people this all the time. You need to become a leader in your life. You need to lead yourself because you can't wait for the next person. A perfect question here is this. Why do we need the government to tell us when it's okay to go back outside when they don't even know?
Exactly.
And we have to ask this question too, which is a legitimate question. How much are we willing to give up just to feel safe? How much of your constitutional rights are you willing to give up? How much? That's a legitimate question to ask. Yeah. And then the other aspect of it is, can you be considerate for your fellow man and not get on that elevator and let that lady go in? Right before we got on, I went to pick up food. There was a two elderly couple, I would say roughly 70 years old. They were coming in, and I let them get on the elevator. She said, you can come in. I said, no, I don't know what I have. I may have it and not show no symptoms.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give you that pass, and I'm going to let you go up. But a lot of people are not willing to do that. You know why? Because everybody's focused on the eye.
People are selfish. Definitely focused on the eye, going back to the ego, and they just don't care. They don't care. Because that even goes to my experience shopping in BJ's, this elderly man was in front of another man, a younger man. And when he was, distracted, looking at one thing, because BJ's now has you making a whole line.
Mm-hmm.
But he got distracted. This guy went before him and cut him. That poor man is waiting online just like everyone else. All you simply had to do was just say, oh, sir, the line is moving. That's it. But why did you go and cut this man?
Mm-hmm.
And it goes back to like me. I want to get out of it. I want to skip him because I want to get closer in line. And that's the problem with a lot of people, that they're impatient. And not only are they impatient, but they think of the right now. So it's true. They're not asking all these questions.
Not at all.
Of the right now. And that's why a lot of people fail. When they make a plan, when they have goals, when they have a dream, they fail because they don't want to go through the process. And the process is very important. The process is where you're going to suffer. You're going to do your shadow work. You're going to face your inner demons. That's all the work you have to do. That's the process.
That's necessary.
That's what's going to get you to elevate where you're supposed to be. It's going to make you stronger. And it's going to give you more courage to keep on going. That's the process. It doesn't matter. You can keep falling and falling. But what matters is that you get right back up. you know, and you
Definitely.
have to do it. Just like you said, some people don't go to therapy. They don't need a therapist. They just need a coach. Some people, you know, you can listen to the affirmations. You can listen to the motivational speakers. You can have a group of 5 people that are, you know, successful. But if you yourself, and this goes back to but this goes back to I without the ego and in a more positive way.
Yeah.
Your higher self, you know, your higher self, you have to want it. You have to want to change. And it goes back to, like, you know, the reason why I got on this journey is because I looked at my life and I said, I can't complain or act like a victim. If I keep on doing the same things, I'm going to get the same result. So when that started to click in my mind, I started to separate myself. You know, it's not nothing against nobody. I separated myself. It's not about I took myself out. You know, and that's the only way you can do it. And that's when you're going to start to attract what's meant for you. And goes, you know, you're going to meet the friends that align to your purpose, to your goals. You can work together, because I do believe strongly, you know, in a team. You should have a team of people that they don't have to have the same exact values, but somewhat similar to what you're doing.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the problem here too, that again, with selfishness, a lot of people are selfish and they don't believe in a team. So there's a lot of, you know, survival of the fittest. You know, I'm going to step on you to get where I want to be. So when you don't work in a team and you're all stepping on each other, guess who wins? Who wins? The people above us. And now that's the government and that's the president, because we're down here. We can't even come together as a community. You know, for people to be stealing chicken, to be leaving those shelves empty with the toilet paper, the Lysol, the hand sanitizer. So you never thought to yourself, like, come on, how much hand sanitizer do you really need if it's just you? Or even if it's just your family of 3 or 4. So you never thought, you know, to yourself, like, oh, maybe other people want to shop. Maybe they need this as well. You know, so it's true. I feel like this pandemic should be I agree with you. This should be an eye-opener to a lot of people.
It should be.
A lot. Just like I was sharing on a Facebook Live, you know, people that want to get closer to God. Yeah, take this opportunity to do that. Whatever it is you want to work on, whether it's a skill you want to learn or, you know, the mindset, if you want to learn more about the mindset, you know, do something productive at home instead of, I mean, hey, I joke around here and there. Yes, I do it, you know, dark humor. But at the end of the day, I'm doing what I have to do. You know, that's only like maybe half an hour out of my life. But this is really an opportunity for people. Even my brother, Carlos, I told him high school right now online, take advantage of this. You can pass. You can pass. You can pass you can get your high school diploma. Take advantage. And I've been speaking to him about this a lot.
Yeah.
Because I know even you know, with the younger kids and him still being a teenager, you know, he was scared at one point. And I'm also actually trying to do an interview with him, and I want to ask him questions like how he felt. You know, like what?
Oh yeah, no, it's a huge change, and this is what I tell my couples this when I see them. I say, you know, because everybody is focused on the I, and I tell them in order for the I to win, the we has to win. So when you focus on the we, the I automatically wins without you having to focus on yourself, which is crazy because those people that took the Lysol and are stealing chicken, guess what? You may need your neighbor to help you with your car. You may need that neighbor to hold the door open for you. You may to get back into society remotely, whatever that's going to look like. It's going to take everybody together, not just one person or one thing, which is mind-boggling to me. Right. Is why I truly believe some people they don't want it, and that's okay. I got clients that have been seeing me. No, I right hand to God. I have a client that I've been seeing for 2 years now. A little over 2 years. Every week comes in, is coming to therapy, is receiving the therapy, but refuses to do the assignments. And he's okay with that. And that's fine. I'm in a place where I'm like, I'm here for you. I mean, I give you your 40-minute session and that's what it is. And I have accepted and understood I cannot work harder on his treatment than he's willing to work.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's what it comes down to with a lot of things. A lot of people are not ready. There is a lot of selfishness. There is a lot of, oh, I want to see myself win. Like a lot of people, they may look at your channel and be like, oh, nah, I ain't about to support that. But let you be doing something silly or something foolish, then they want to click.
Twerking. Yeah. I bet you I start twerking and I get a whole bunch of viewers. Or I'm cursing, or I'm smoking a blunt. We're going to get built in this YouTube channel right now.
It's the truth.
Like,
they
whole bunch
see
of
you
viewers.
successful, then they want the answer.
Yep,
Like
a whole bunch of viewers. And you could sit there and support these celebrities and artists that don't know who you are, but you can't do that for a classmate that you went to school with, that y'all both understand the struggle. You're both coming from the same environment. You both probably have similarities in the same household, you know, like how you were brought up. But you're gonna sit there and you can't, you know, be I guess the cheerleader or a fan or whatever, but you could be fans to Nicki Minaj, Lil Wayne, you know, like all of these other, it's corny. It comes off kind of corny. And I always say that too.
And this is the piece that this is why that happens, I believe. I do believe that we're always striving for what we don't have or what we don't see, and this glitz and glamour and all that other good jazz. But I am also a firm believer. I tell people all the time, you really got to think this. I don't read a lot of books. I listen to them in Audible because that's a lot easier for me. But I listen to a lot of books, and it's like, are you, okay, I want to be a millionaire. Okay. Are you willing to put millionaire hours in? Are you willing to work 90 hours a week? Are you willing to miss that family vacation? What are you willing to do? Because it's just not like, oh, I'm going to be a millionaire. That's the crazy part. And maybe for me, in my journey and in my place, being at war helped for today in terms of my mindset. Because a lot of people say, thank you for serving. I'm like, yeah, I was already there. I was over there. It was what it was. And I tell them the truth. No, I tell them the truth. What I did was not for maybe subconsciously it was for the people back home, but in all reality, consciously, I knew if I didn't hold my field of fire, the person to my left or my right could die. That was what was important, that we all came home together. Yeah. That sense of teamwork, that sense of unity, unfortunately, it doesn't exist in a lot of companies, a lot of organizations, a lot of families. I mean, there's literally family members that will shut you down because they don't want to see you surpass them, instead of encouraging and supporting and saying, I want to see you succeed. My fiance goes to this church. I've stepped foot in that church. I'm not baptized. I've gone a couple times for events that the kids were doing, and I've seen people literally look at me like, why is he here? And to me, it's a chuckle. It's a chuckle because I believe this. Your perception of me is a reflection of you. I'm a firm believer of that.
I'm a firm believer of that too. Yep.
And just because you're in a building, a church, or whatever the case may be, that doesn't mean that you're a Christian. That doesn't mean that you're 100% going to heaven. Like, think about this. And this is the most interesting and fascinating thing about the human mind. And this sums everything up, in my opinion. Everybody wants to go to heaven. Nobody wants to die. And that's real. In order to go to heaven, you have to die. That's just it. If you believe in good and evil, in order to be successful, you got to have struggles. They go hand in hand.
It does. It's all about balance, and it goes back to the yin yang.
Yeah.
There's light, there's darkness, the evil, the good, Satan, God. You know, it's just that way. Just like us, we're all capable of wickedness, and we're all capable of the light. You know, spreading that positivity. So it's up to you how you want to, you know, what you want to put out there in the universe. And I'm also a believer of the how you treat others as a reflection of yourself, because you have self-love. And once again, I was just speaking on this today. If you love yourself, you're never going to go outside and mistreat the next person, disrespect them, envy them, you know, wish them bad. No, you're not going to do that. You're going to uplift them. That's how I am, especially like women, like with my coworkers. And I'm so grateful. And I'm glad you mentioned also about companies out here not having that, because I had a couple of jobs that we didn't have that teamwork. You know, it was always a competition. And I'm so grateful and blessed. You know, every day I'm like, oh my God, thank you. Because I'm finding that at a place, you know, in my company where we have that teamwork. We all uplift each other. We're all on the same, basically we're vibrating on the same level. Like we're all there. And it's not one trying to shut the other one out. We share ideas, you know, we give positive feedback. And that's something that I would definitely agree with. Not a lot of companies have that.
No, not at all. And I think it all comes down to understanding and knowing your truth. Not knowing your truth, because I think everybody knows their truth. They may not vocalize it. They may not say it. But you also have to accept it. And I don't think a lot of people are very good at accepting their truth, at accepting who they are and their flaws. I had a therapist tell me this in my journey in becoming a therapist. And she said, you need to get over yourself and you need to accept that you're not a monster, but you're capable of monstrous acts. And that stood with me, and it will stay with me for the rest of my life. It just will. And to me, it's powerful because it's powerful in the sense of we give ourselves titles, we give ourselves these, I call them societal constructs, and also false identities, so to speak. Like, why do you have to be the mom or the teacher or the dad? Why you can't be the mom that is also a teacher, that is also a friend, that is also a sister, that is also a great daughter? Why you can't be all of them? Everybody wants to put everybody in a box. And just because, and I've said this, I believe you said this also, don't worry about the messenger. I don't give a shit. It could be the drunk person in the corner. It could be the pastor. It could be a movie. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I'm not going to lie. I'm a meathead. I love working out. I love lifting stuff up. I love dudes that curse. I love the Wes Watsons
like
of the
passion. So you love Tony Robbins then?
Yeah, I do Tony Robbins. I like Conor
so
McGregor.
He starts cursing and all that.
I love those things because to me, I feel connected and I feel real. Is that for everybody? No. But what I'm saying is take what you can get, put it together for yourself, and pass it forward. This is the greatest thing I've ever heard. You envision the man or woman you want to be. You build that person, not for yourself, but for you to share that person with the world. And to me, a lot of people are looking to build themselves up to keep them. Why? Why you want to keep it for? What use is it?
Exactly.
Why?
For your legacy as well, you know, you want to, that's what this life is about. You know, you build yourself up, like you mentioned, you share it with others, you uplift them, and you create your legacy, you know.
Definitely.
People, and that's why I started this by asking you, because so I always ask myself, and I do a lot of like you know, I meditate on things and I reflect a lot. So I've been asking myself these days, because I do want to go back to YouTube and, you know, create one video that speaks on me. So I asked myself, you know, who is Damaris? But then I also call myself Serenity. So I wanted to put them together, like, who is Damaris and who is Serenity? So then that's why I started this video asking you, like, who is Carmelo Hernandez? Like, how do you want people to view you? You know, whether it's your family, your children, you as a you know, a therapist, or you as a fitness, working out as a fit, you know? So that's why I asked you that. And I'm going to ask you again. So how do you want people to view you?
For me,
who is Carmelo Hernandez? And
I
not just like, I know, you know, your career and your family is a part of who you are, but who really, like, who are you really?
I would say this. Who is Carmelo Hernandez at this point in time, at 35 years of age? I mean, and the reason I say at this point in time
okay, go.
is because we evolve. We evolve and things change. Not change, but things will always get added. And I would say this to the core. And this is a video that I did. I don't know if I posted it, but I'll double check on my why. What's my why for doing things? My reason for my why. And first, I'll start it with who I am. I'm a son. I'm a father. I'm a veteran. I'm a combat veteran. I've been injured. I've been broken. I am broken. I'm emotional. I'm also passionate. I can be loving. I can be scary. I can be evil. I like to have fun. I like to drink. I haven't drank in 4 months. Not because somebody told me to, but because I said, no, I'm good. I like to lift weights. I love to run. At the end with everything, Carmelo Hernandez is somebody who gives 110% of what he has when he has it. If somebody right now could be an argument, could be pissed off or not spoken in years and say, I need $100 and I know I have 200, that person would have $100 and I'm not going to ask for it back. It's one of those where I generally want to see people succeed. Not for them to say that I helped them succeed, but just to hear them say I achieved something. I'm very selfless. I am a father. I am a father and a son who's selfless to the T, to the point of I'm not afraid to tell someone their truth, especially if I don't agree with something. But I'm also not afraid to hold myself accountable and say when I was wrong, and say I made a mistake. I can make mistakes, and I will make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that all leads to my why. I think too many times we're searching for perfection, and perfection truly, in my opinion, does not exist. But I think progress exists. And I think you search for progress, not perfection, and you got to be compassionate. I think you got to accept your truths of who you are. And I mean, am I still working on myself? Most definitely. Have I fully arrived? No, not at all. I think the minute you think you fully arrived is probably the day you're going to die, or you probably full of crap. We truly, as human beings, I think in vulnerability and being vulnerable with yourself, but also being vulnerable with others, being vulnerable with your audience, being vulnerable with your family, with your friends, because at the end of the day, you know your truth. Everyone knows their truth. My truth is, at this point in time, I'm a father, I'm a son, I have scars that are healed. I have some that are not healed, that are very fresh. And I'm also still trying to be the best version of myself to share with the world, to share with that one person, to hopefully help guide them in whatever journey that is their life, whatever they want to call about their life or within their life. I think in this world, you build who you are to share it with the world. I think that's the most important thing. I think it's the greatest teacher in the world. And I think for me, I'm very inquisitive. And for me, Carmelo Hernandez, I say all that to say, is a work in progress, but a passionate, loving work in progress.
I love it. I love it. I love all of that. And I love that you're still, what I take from this is that you're still growing, you're still willing to learn. And that's awesome, because me, you know, I kind of used to struggle with that in the past. Not that I felt like I knew everything, but you know, in order to be a teacher, you also have to be a student. Mm-hmm. And I finally have that mindset. Like, I'm real big on that. So I tell myself all the time, you know, like, I want to be a student. I want to learn more. And even, you know, in my career, like when I was working with the middle school kids, I learned from them. And that was something that when I was younger, you know, just wanting to be a teacher, I never thought that. I always thought like, oh, I'm going to be the teacher. And it kind of goes back into like a little controlling issues as well, which I worked on. And that's why I always stress to people, you know, you can't control what's around you. You can't control students, you know, even though you are the adult and you're older and you may have more experience. These are humans. You cannot control them. You can't control your kids. You can't control your partner. You know, it goes back to relationships. If your partner wants to cheat, it doesn't matter how great of a wife or husband you are, they're going to do what they want to do. You can't control anything but how you react.
Yes.
That's the only thing you can control. You know, you can go outside today and someone can argue with you. Are you going to sit there and entertain it, or are you going to walk away? And I feel like that's when you really know that you've grown. Mm-hmm. When you're outside and, you know, because you are going to experience those toxic people, those people that are miserable, they're bitter. And like the quote, misery loves company, is very true. And you're going to go out there and you can't always fight. You know, no. We're tired of fighting. We're fighting battles within ourselves, you know, so then to go out there and fight with people, it's tiring, you know, it gets exhausting, it's draining. And even with family, I'm really big on family, and I tell my mom all the time, like, for family to argue and fight and be at war with each other, like, you know, there's families out there that they want to kill each other. They probably have stabbed each other, like, sent each other to jail, because I've seen this, you know. And gratefully, like, you know, my family, we're not perfect, but I don't feel like we've reached that point. I don't feel like we have. And, you know, to fight with family members and then you have to go out there and fight with strangers, like, that hurts.
It's exhausting too, and I believe karmic debt is very real. I believe in the energy you put out. Just think about it. You get into an argument with someone, and that stays on your mind for 4 to 5 to maybe the whole day, 24 hours. We're talking about you just lost 24 hours over 5 minutes. Was it really worth it? Your whole day is ruined. Your whole and I mean, I'm a firm believer of this. I had one of my mentors, a teacher, tell me this. She says, you're a teacher once, but you're a student twice. Because she says, while you're learning, you're a student. While you're teaching, you become a student again because you're learning again, because everybody receives the message differently. I have clients that I can confront and I can be like, hey, asshole, what are you doing? You got to get your shit together. Come on, we've spoken about this. And I got other clients that I got to approach and I got to say, tell me what's wrong today and work the process from a whole different perspective. And it's wearing multiple hats, most definitely, but it's understanding that as a teacher, because you're literally teaching these people, I cannot use the same tool for every person or every problem, which is why I said, don't focus on the messenger, man. Don't focus on the tattoos. Don't focus on the jargon or maybe the curse words or whatever. If you grab one thing from one video, one conversation, and you can utilize that for the rest of your life in a positive aspect, hey, man, I'm grateful, and take that. I believe too many times messages are missed and blessings are missed because we're too focused on who's saying them and where they're coming from. We're too focused on, basically, I guess you could call it popularity. Because it came from such and such, so
even stereotypes as well. Sometimes people, even myself, like, I'm gonna be real. Everybody judges. It's something that is just, I feel like, since we're young, it's like it's just in our brains.
Yeah.
Because of our environments and all of the stereotypes, so we judge, and I even did a social experiment on that, like just being aware so that I can change it. Like how many times I go outside and I judge someone, and it can be the total opposite.
Yeah.
Now I try my best to live a very open-minded lifestyle, give everyone the opportunity. And even if I'm judging, at least I'm aware of it. Like, okay, I'm aware that I'm thinking this, but let me just get it out. Yeah, let me get it out of my mind, because you don't know. Everyone's different. And, if they're paying attention to how someone looks that's delivering this message, it's they've already set themselves up for failure, because you can't judge people, just like you can have someone, you can have a Christian person and you can have someone with tattoos. Whose heart is better? We don't know. Only God knows your heart. Only you and God knows your heart.
That's a fact.
I've met hood people that they will give you the last plate they have to make sure you're in.
And have some real knowledge behind them too. Have some
there's a couple of people that didn't even go to college, and because they self-educate themselves. You can't go around judging. You just have to try your best to be open-minded. Take the message. If it's for you, it's if it's not for you, and just don't spread no negativity. Because people here, they look at you and they're like, oh, I wanted to do a YouTube channel, or I want to be him, or I want to do this, and it's like, just go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Or if you don't have the courage, or if you're shy, work at it, practice, keep on trying. But don't start spreading negativity towards the person.
Oh, yeah, not at all. And I think
can't do.
I think everybody likes the fact that they have a voice now. I'm a firm believer, and I tell people all the time also, when the mind is ready, a teacher will appear. So when you're generally ready to receive the messages will start appearing from everywhere. And to me personally, everybody can win. We don't realize that, but everyone can win. I mean, before this pandemic, once it's over, God only knows. But if you really think about it, through the internet, through things like Zoom, Facebook, Instagram Live, YouTube, all that jazz, you could reach easily well over millions upon millions of people. It just really, in terms of, this is a huge ocean with opportunities for everyone. And for whatever reason, I would say to anyone who hears this, and anyone who from my side, your side, the world in general, like, subscribe, share, even if it's not for you. The reason for that being is you don't know who you may save that could hear that message. That's just a fact. You don't know whose life can be touched and come back to you and say, that was awesome. I had a veteran when I was working on the Wounded Warrior Project. I swear to God, this dude was the hardest veteran, because we used to run groups. I swear, he didn't say nothing. I was with him for 6 days in a retreat. He didn't say a freaking word, not a word. Didn't speak to no one, isolated. I truly was like, man, we just wasted 6 days with this guy here. Like, and I was judging. I'm not gonna lie.
We all do it.
He was in the airport, and I'm on my work phone, and we're getting on the same plane, and he's getting something to eat, and I'm behind him. I pay for his meal, and he looks at me and he goes, "Thank you," and it took me aback, and I said, "For what?" And he said, "I chose to come to this retreat from the phone call you gave me. When I heard you speak, something told me inside to come." And I said, "But okay." And then he looks at me, he goes, "You just saved my life because I had plans to kill myself when I got home from this retreat." And I looked at him and he just walked away. And I was like, you just never know. You never know what someone's going through and what you may say that could help that person.
Wow.
And he never told me what I said. He never told me what anything was. He never told me, but something I said in those 6 days gave him enough life to say, this is worth to continue fighting.
It's worth it, yeah. Oh my God, that gives me goosebumps.
So when you share a video, when you share content, a message, you may be helping someone.
Oh, that's deep. Oh my God, that's deep.
You may not even realize that you may save someone's life and you may not even know.
That is so true. And not for nothing, like, I strongly feel like I have a purpose in life to like just spread the positivity, you know, teach people what I've learned, also learn from them, and just share my experiences. Like, I just feel really strongly that this is like, you know, a purpose. Basically, that's what it is. Yes, a purpose I have. So, you saying that? The sharing, definitely.
You just never know, and I think it's helpful. There's things that I share all the time.
Yeah.
I share things that people...
Yeah, I've done that for a few people, a few friends.
I copy stuff. Where you get this from? Hey, go check out this book. This is where I got this quote from. Like, it's a good book for me. And even if you don't want to, like, listen or read the book, but this dude's pretty good, you know what I mean? Like, check it out. Even if it's something like weightlifting wise, my buddies would be like, I'm trying this pre-workout. And I'm like, well, I'm trying this one, but tell me about that one. I want to learn more. You know, like, you're just... And yeah, I give this guy $30 and buy the pre-workout. And that's monetary, that's secondary. But what if that pre-workout helps, right? What if that pre-workout takes me to a next level in my gains or in my journey of fitness, right? Instead of sitting down and saying, oh, your joint is whack or whatever the case may be, or stick to my own brand, because everybody wants to be the thing.
So stuck, so stuck in your ways, like, and that goes back to the generational.
Yes.
That I speak about that. You know, I'm so grateful that a lot of people are waking up and they're changing, because I feel like even with our family, you know, just in case nobody knows, that's my cousin. But even with our families, like, we're doing it, you know, because generations before us, you know, our families, they weren't educated. They didn't go to high school. They didn't go to college. You know, they were living in toxic environments. They did toxic things, you know. That was their life. Like you mentioned before, they did the best they could with what they knew. But it's breaking. Like, we're breaking it, because, you know, even my mom, like, I teach her, like, I share with everything I learn about mindset and the affirmations and the videos, and she likes it. Like, she actually likes it, so I share it with her. You know, I do it with my brother, you and I, like, how we were both able to you know, finish our education, go to college, and we have the degrees. You know, we're starting our new generations to come. You know, you're leaving that for your family. Now you're raising your own kids. I don't have no kids yet, but anyways, now you're raising your own kids. You know, you're teaching them that. Even your son, like, oh my goodness, when I saw him on YouTube, like, that was so awesome, because he was able to, you know, use YouTube as his platform to share how he felt being homeschooled. And, you know, what you were teaching him, the tips you were giving him, that he has to, you know, not be overwhelmed. You know, if he needs to take a break, he can take a break, but you're at home. So now it's up to you. And it goes back to life. It's up to you. Just like Carlos, I told him today, I was like, oh, you know, what do you like about being homeschooled? Do you like it better than like regular school? You know, what's on your mind? And I told him, I'm like, the only difference is that, yes, this can be an opportunity for you to pass and gain your high school diploma, but you can also, you know, you're accountable. Because you have to get on that computer and you have to make sure those assignments come That's the same thing that your son was talking about.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I told him, I said, you could hide in the classroom. You could hide and not have to raise your hand. The only difference now is you have to answer all the questions.
Yeah, you have to answer it. No one's around. You can't look at the other person. You can't pretend,
You
it's
can't.
true. And it goes back to life. It's crazy how little things like that, when you really like interpret, like when you really go in depth with them, it can all go back to life itself. Like you have to look at yourself in the mirror every night.
You do.
And you
You
have to
have
go
to.
to sleep, with yourself, basically. I mean, yeah, you might have a partner or whatever the case may be, but you're going to sleep. It's your body, your mind. And at the end of the day, when you reflect, when you're laying on that bed, did you give it your all? Whether it was at work, did you give your 110? Because it's true, 100, I don't think 100 is enough.
And you
And
know it. And you know if you did or not.
And a lot of the times, a lot of people, and I kind of had moments in the past when I was like that. You're always thinking about the reward, the incentive. You're doing it for a paycheck. And when you start to do things for a paycheck, you're never going to be happy. Never. You're never going to be happy in your work environment. Never. But when you start to actually do things and you're not even getting paid for it, you're just doing it. And I have a quote up there actually about it that I wrote down. You're doing it and you're not worrying about, am I going to get paid? Am I going to get recognition for this? Am I going to get an award or whatever? You're doing it for yourself. And that's when it's most valuable.
Most definitely. Like this is something that I would share with the listeners that they can do to start changing their mindset. And it's going to take discipline, and it's going to take most definitely patience. And it's in the terms of
don't scare them off. Because
no.
Your whole energy shifted. You was like, it's discipline. Because listen, I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I'm still growing. I'm still learning. I have it all together. My discipline, I'm like a little like.
It's gonna take discipline, and
But you know me. I feel like a lot of your disciplines. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like you going to the army helped you with that.
Oh, of course.
Training, like I feel like, and I know you have the discipline just by you. Trust me, by me even posting that on Facebook and you hitting me up right away, like the Maris, when are we doing this video? I'm like, oh shit, I gotta get on it. I posted this out. Now we gonna I'm like, because my discipline is something I'm still working on. Like,
yeah.
I'm still working on it, but I'm happy though. I'm happy that I'm doing it. And yes, I have my flaws. Yes, I've failed in certain things, but I always try to take the positive. And let myself fall all the way. And I really look at it as stepping stones. I look at what I did before, what can I change? And I'm constantly reflecting on myself. And it's time for us to stop being our own enemies. How can you be your own worst enemy? You have to love yourself. And it goes back to self-love. And only then are you able to, if you fail, hey, fuck it. I failed at something. I'm not perfect. But let me try again and let me keep trying. And that's when you get that drive and you become passionate and then you keep going. And that's when you reach that level of successfulness. Like you reach it. Yeah. And another thing I want to share, that this is a quote, and I love this quote. It always plays in my mind, always, all the time, because it's something that I had to tell myself over and over and over and over. And it's, you are not the mistakes that you've made.
No, you're not. You're not.
Just like you said, I feel like I'm a monster, but when I went to therapy, she told me, you're not a monster. You're capable of that, but you are not that. And that goes back to like our belief systems, you know, and if you grow up in that toxic household, a lot of the times I'm thankful that, and I feel like you as well, we never really had that. Like negative from our parents, because our moms wanted us to go to school. They wanted us to, go to college and get the degree. So they didn't speak too negative on us. But me working with kids and, especially, I know that they go through this at home. They come home, their parents, and it gets to a point where what you're told, whether it's from a friend, a partner, a teacher, a parent, eventually you start to believe it. You start to believe it. You can't do this. You're dumb. You're not pretty enough. You're not smart enough. You're not strong enough. You're not tall enough. It just constantly until you keep playing and playing and playing it, and it's in your mind. And this is where what you're doing comes in, about changing the mindset. That's where because now, yes, those things happen to you all the way up to, I feel like, already even in your teenage years, because there's some teenagers I've met that they have it. And I look at them and I'm like, because they've something happened in their minds that they decided to, and they don't allow nobody to tell them they can't do this, can't do that, and they're there. And I'm like, wow. So I met as young as I think this little girl was like 11 years old. 11. That when I spoke to this little girl and she was so wise, and like her whole aura and energy and like how she spoke, and I'm like, wow, like an 11-year-old can get this, then come on, like
anybody can get it. And anybody, and that's what I was just about to say. It is going to take discipline, and I think everybody struggles with discipline because we always want to take the path of least resistance. But this, I believe, would help anyone, and it most definitely helps me. It's something that I will be doing tonight. I had one written down, but write a gratitude list. Write things that you're grateful for.
Okay, I don't mean to cut you off. I have a whole book. I have a whole gratitude book. So that helps with discipline?
Well, yeah, it helps in this aspect.
Okay.
The gratitude list, and then a mission statement of your life. You know how every company has a mission statement? I always tell my clients, write a mission statement for your life of what you want your life to be and what you would like your life to look like. Okay. The discipline factor is this. This is where the discipline comes in. Reading it to yourself every morning and meditating on it. Because a lot of people, they want to make change, but they don't know where to start with the change. So for example, you write the gratitude list, right? The gratitude list is letting you know what you're grateful for. Your home, your mom, friendships, co-workers. Those things, when you read that to yourself and reflect on it, you start to feel better about yourself because you've already won. You've already started the day winning. When you read your mission statement, you start to realize things that are not in your life yet that you would want to be in your life, things you would like to achieve. So when you read that to yourself in the morning, you start to meditate. You start developing a plan. You start developing what we call in the military, we did call it this. It was called an operation order. Oh. So when an operation order is where you write down the logistics, the 9-line medevac, with the way you coming in and all that. But you could do that with life, and a lot of people just don't do it. Because, for example, in your mission statement, if you say, I want to be successful, have my own business, and help others, right? Okay, now you read your mission statement. Now you can start processing, and this is where the workout comes in. Some physical activity for me, not only does it put you, because not everybody's great at fitness. Even the fittest motherfuckers on earth have struggled with certain exercises. But when you're exercising, every day is not a great day when you're working out. When you're doing that push-up, when you're running that mile, when it's hard, even just to get out of bed, when it's nice and warm and you get out, now you can start reflecting, what type of business do I want? What does success mean to me? Does success mean $1 million? Does success mean just being able to help others? How can I help others? Because now you can start actually breaking it down and putting action to it and putting it on paper. And I think that a lot of times, I think everybody wants to be successful and wants to do something with their life. I think the discipline factor and not actually having a legitimate plan of how to execute it. And I tell everybody this every day. If you can, start your day before 5 a.m.
Listen.
If you can.
You've been saying that.
It's not for everybody.
I don't understand. I'm sorry. I'm all for the positivity. I'm so zen. And I'm working on my discipline. The push-ups they might get there, they might never get there, but you know what? I'm still a good person. I don't know about, because it's true. Like you said, some things work for people, some things
work for people to other.
How the heck? I'm sorry. And I've gotten, because before, I don't even think I was a morning person. Now I'm a morning person. I'm like, okay, fine. The water, I could drink water. I could drink a gallon every day. I love it. My vegetables, I eat them. Now, you are recommending. I'm sorry.
There's a reason why I recommend it.
I know you have your reasons, and I know you're gonna say them, and I want to hear them. But how? I mean, it's not even how. It's not even why. It's like, really, before 4 in the morning? What the heck am I gonna be doing? I know. Early bird gets the worm. I already know. And I even know about the spiritual part of it. You wake up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. You're gonna see the Holy Ghost. You're gonna see. I'm sorry. God knows I joke about all day. He loves me.
Yeah.
You wake up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, you're seeing that. Because I heard this Christian woman tell me, she's like, the best time to pray, and you're going to feel that presence. You're going to have the Holy Spirit. She's like, you're going to feel amazed, and you're going to know that God is real. She was like, you need to do it like at 3, 4 in the morning. And I'm like,
well, to me, it's this, and it's not easy. And it's not easy. This is my theory on it, and I've experienced it.
But then you're telling me you go to sleep at 1 o'clock in the morning. So how many hours are you sleeping?
It depends on the day. So like last night, I did go to bed at 1. I went to bed at 1, just basically self-care. I was doing self-care, so I was just chilling. However, it depends on the day. It depends on how tired the body is. Sometimes I'll go to bed at 9:30. Sometimes I go to bed at 12, but I still make sure to be up at a certain time. And here's the reason why. I'm a firm, and I've experienced this. When you're up before 5 a.m., it's hard. It's not easy. So once you're up off that bed and literally you see the rest of the house sleeping, you change how you look at things, and what you're looking at will change. Mentally, you've already done one hard thing for the day. If you don't do nothing else that day, you've already done one thing that was challenging, which is get up. And now, when you get up at that time, you know that everyone else in the world, 90% of them are sleeping. And while they're sleeping, now you're ahead of the schedule. So by the time they're getting up and having breakfast, mentally, you might have 4 or 5 wins under your belt already. You already prayed or meditated, you've showered, you've exercised, you've done, by 7 a.m., you're rocking. You're rocking already. So your energy level is just at a different level, that when you go to that meeting and you're vibrant and you're sitting there and somebody's saying, how can we do this? You're looking at them like, how can we do this? Well, I can tell you how this can get done. I can tell you exactly how this can get done. I've been up.
It's true, because listen, I didn't do the 4 o'clock in the morning, but when I was doing my, like, I think it was my 5:30 in the morning, I think it was like 5:30 in the morning. I was doing my I had Zoom meetings in life when I was we would listen to a motivational video and then reflect and share like what we took from it. So I was doing that. And then it's true, you could write in your journal, meditate, pray, definitely the yoga, work out a little bit, and that's it. That's already done. So that part is done. Done. So now you're ahead of the schedule. Then
you're ahead of the game.
Ahead of the game. When I'm doing that, I'm on a roll. Especially if I work out. My goodness. Like if I'm on any type of meeting, I'm there. Like the other day, I did everything I had to do, and when it was time for me to go on my conference call, I was the only one talking. And it was so bad because. So that's for my second job. I'm servicing children from foster care. So she had, I don't know if it was a social worker on the line. She had someone with an important title that was supposed to be answering what I was answering and what I was giving feedback to. So it did look kind of like funny on her end because she brought it to the lady's attention. She's like, you should know this. You're the one that should be like this. Like, why is the Mavericks the only one like? But I was on that roll. I was on that glow. And I'm the type of person that if I'm going to sit and this goes back to you taking messages, learning, going to a training, getting a certificate, going to college for, your diploma, whatever the case may be, whatever you're doing, right? To be productive. If you don't apply it to your life, it means nothing. You can go through 4 years and get your high school diploma. If you're not speaking that way, and I'm not talking about, okay, every day, 24/7, you have to speak professionally. But if you're not doing it half of the time, or you don't even know how to express yourself, what did you learn those 4 years? What did you take away from school, from college, from high school? Because it's true. Like you also said, there's people that don't go to school, but they know how to express themselves. So wherever they learn this, they're applying it to their lives.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing. You have the diploma, use it. Let it show it off.
Yeah. You
did the hard work. You struggled. You passed your exams. You did what you had to do. Show it off. Dress the part. Talk the part. And I'm real big that if I'm here, taking time out of my day for like an hour, and I, it's a
Mm-hmm.
mandatory meeting. I'm getting paid for it as well. Yes, but I'm going to be proactive in it. I'm going to let them know
Yes.
I'm here, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not, like not giving other people a chance either, because I gave them a chance. But it's like I'm here, and I even got a little annoyed about everyone else, because I'm like, where is everyone else? Because I love people that are engaged, that they're like, they're feeding off each other's energy, like you and I, like right now, like we're feeding off of each other. You're saying something, I'm saying something, and we're here, we're present. Because if you're not saying anything, why are you even in this meeting? I'm sorry.
Why? No, it's the truth. This is why I say waking up at that time and knocking out a big portion of your day in the workouts is beneficial. And I know we were talking about the we earlier and the positivity. And this is also a reality. We need savages for certain things. And when you wake up that early and you put yourself in a mental mindset, I can tell anybody this in a heartbeat. Anybody this. When we step foot on that on either it's the gym, or we're running, or we're doing something crazy, or we're in a meeting, you're not going to tell me about my role or my position, because I've been up since 4. I've already prepared for this meeting 2 times, and I'm here and I'm ready to work. So it doesn't matter. So mentally, I already have that edge of if somebody's coming in slacking, I could pull them to the corner and I can say, hey, I need you to pick it up. I need you to be here.
You prepared for a meeting too?
You already been prepared for it 2 times. I was at a meeting Friday, kid you not, in the rain, while on this meeting on a conference call. I was running laps. I was exercising while they were waiting. Why? Because they were just talking a bunch of nonsense. Once they finally said, Central Region, tell me what you're doing and how the interdisciplinary team meetings are going, I said, oh yeah, Carmelo here. This is what we're doing. This is how long it takes, and this is what we're getting. And the CEO was like, yeah, the director speaks highly about him. That's it. And mentally, I could literally condense everything down instead of, oh, well, we did this over here, and we're shooting for that, and listen, we don't need all that. But just having that mental edge is because, A, we're eating a lot of the wrong foods, as you share all the time. B, I was up since 4 in the morning. It was raining. Sophia's like, what are you doing? I came in soaked. Where were you? I was running. There's no excuses. To me, the mentality is you got to go out there and you got to get those wins, because those wins, because trust me, you're going to get cold, right? You're going to get hungry and you're going to be down. I've been in some real shitty situations in life, especially while deployed. And when you get those no's, and when people are not subscribing, or somebody's telling you, you can't be a life coach, you can't be a mindset coach, there's plenty of those already. That's when you're going to need to dig back into that memory bank. Well, guess what? I've been getting up at 4 in the morning, and I know what tough feels like.
Nothing different to the game. Fuck that. And excuse my language.
Yes. No, it's the truth. So once you know that you've been already on a path and you've been knocking down walls already,
it's like,
yes, it's like whatever. Because you've been knocking, like, I kid you not, in this real story, I remember graduating from NYU, and I remember them saying, no, even before NYU, bullshit, was Mercy. And they said, social worker only makes this much, a max of like 55,000 with a master's degree. And I said, that's you, not me. Watch me. My first job, I was making 54,000, right? And in 3 months, when the Word Project gave me an offer, and I made $85,000 a year straight out of grad school. Not even licensed yet. Not even licensed. And to be completely honest with you, it wasn't the fact that I was the best therapist or anything like that. Yes, a lot of military and leadership experience did come into play, but it was, I truly believe.
Your discipline, man.
It was the discipline. It really was.
Go back to your discipline.
It really was.
You sit there and someone that may be like, what they think is a better thing or whatever, like, and if they don't have that discipline, I'm telling you, there's certain things that you just have to have. And I tell my mom this all the time. I'm like, I had to work hard because my work ethic, like, I am a good teacher. I do bond with the kids. I connect with them. I inspire them. I'm very professional with them. I do not play. But I'm also able to balance where they can come to me as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important. But, and this is something that, oh, thank you, Jesus, that I'm better at. my attendance. And,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't, I don't mean that I would, call out or be absent. It wasn't about that. It was my tardiness. But
Mm.
that's important. And I'm
Yeah.
a person that I created a bad habit since I was like 8 years old, because I have a great memory of going late to school. And I
Got
lived
you.
off the block. Middle school, late. High school, late. Late. The only time I think I ever would go on time was when I went to school in Florida, because they were so strict. Like,
Got you.
another thing, they're not strict here. You kind of like, they let you
Yeah.
slide because you're likable. And this is what failed me. The system failed me for a couple of years because I was likable. I got away with things, but it didn't
Mm.
help me. It didn't help me. My
Mm.
jobs that I had, because my directors liked me and they connected with me, they would let me slide. I did get special treatment in some
Mm.
jobs. Special treatment does exist.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
real.
Yeah.
And I used
That's
to
true.
get it. I had jobs where I got it. I had jobs where I didn't get it, but I had a lot of jobs where I did. And I took advantage because, and I'm being that completely honest with this whole situation. You know why? Because I had to reflect a lot on that and be accountable for my own actions. And then I had to also experience a director
That was not taking it.
the bullshit.
That
And it
wasn't
was new
taking it.
to me, because you're telling me 23 years, because it happened when I was 23. 23 years of my life, I've been working since I was 15. I've been able to slide, easy way out. Not that I'm not good in school, but hey, I know the trick. First marking period, they don't really care. Second marking period, it's always looking for the easy way out, being late.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I'm not intelligent, it's not that I'm not capable, but it's wanting the results right then and there,
Yeah.
Writing a
Yeah.
paper the night before, working, under pressure, procrastination, all of that. That was all me. And I was able, because it doesn't work for everyone. It works for me because I still had, I'm smart. So I was able to, whatever, pick up a quick. But am I still giving my 110 or 200 on that paper?
Mm-hmm.
No, because I'm not doing it ahead of time. I'm not revising it. I'm not giving it. No, it's like I'm getting away with it, whatever. And you can only get away in life for so long.
So to catch up.
It hits you. And
That's
at 23, when I had that job and I ran into the director that for whatever reason, she just didn't like me, and it was personal for whatever, but those were the reasons that she would look at me, and I already came in the job with that attitude of like, oh, I could do whatever I want because I've been doing whatever I want, because people let me do whatever I want and I get away with it. And this also kind of goes back to how you're raised as well.
Yeah.
If they spoil you, if you spoil your kids and you let them, it goes into their school life, it goes into their work life.
Mm-hmm.
I've never really, like, my mom is not one to play with, but have I really had like as much discipline as maybe I needed? No, I didn't. Like I didn't.
And accountability too in the preference game.
At 23, I'm with this director, and she didn't. I got written up 2 times. I got written up to the point that she wanted to get me fired. And still, I was standing there, knowing that it was true what she was saying, that I was coming late. Still didn't want to I didn't want to take accountability for my behavior. I rejected the write-ups. I never signed them because then again, I think I'm too smart for everyone. So I know that they're trying to create a paper trail. So, and I know it's not mandatory for me to sign it. And I know that once I do, I'm getting fired. I never signed it. Anyways, and at the end, obviously I had a bad relationship with my director. She didn't like me. I was irresponsible. It started affecting my work, even though I was good with the kids. It eventually started affecting my work, started affecting my relationship with my coworkers, because they also saw that I was coming late. It's just not a good look. It's not. Mm-hmm. And eventually, I did win, because to me, what I thought was winning wasn't really winning. I thought I won because when I didn't get offered a job to come back, I did qualify for unemployment, but I didn't win. All I did was fight. All I did was go to work and not be happy, because I had to keep fighting with my director because of my own actions that I didn't see, because I was so blinded, so caught up in me, my ego, like, oh, I run it. No, I don't run it. Like, I'm in the store like everyone else. I don't know what I was thinking during those times. I really had to humble myself. Like, who I thought I was. And it was just bringing constant problems, and now what kind of, employee, what kind of teacher, like what kind of example am I setting for my students now? And that's where I started to change, because it hurt me, because I made it late. So I made it late to the point that I made it late to my class with my students. And then it went back into practicing what you preach. And how could I expect my students to come on time if I came late? You know, just like if you don't want your students to be on their phones, don't disrespect them and be all on your phone. You know, it's just certain things that you won't understand until you really understand.
Yes.
You really gotta get it. So
and
hurt me. And I didn't win. You know why, Carmelo? Because I can't use her as a reference. I didn't win because I burned my bridges. Something that an older coworker of mine told me.
And it took you longer to learn the lesson too.
And I did. I burned them bridges. I burned shit. I burned the bridges. I burned the freaking. I burned it all.
It took longer, right? It took longer for you to learn the lesson instead of accepting it right there.
And I didn't get offered my job back. So while everybody went to work back all happily, where was the Mavis? Again, unemployed, looking for another job. You know. And again, I still didn't learn, because I'm like, I'm gonna get jobs. I could get a job tomorrow. You know, I had that attitude to me. I don't know what was going on. I would get the jobs, okay, but it doesn't matter how many jobs you can get. Which one are you gonna be stable in? Like, when are you gonna get it? When are you gonna learn? And thank you, Jesus, once again. Gotta thank him, man, for opening my eyes, because at least I'm getting it now, and I'm not too old, you know. I'm only 25. It's not like I'm 50, you know, finally getting it, you know. So now I get it. And I tell my mom this conversation all the time, because, you know, you can have a good work ethic, but that's all part of your work ethic. You can be an amazing teacher, but if your attendance sucks and your attitude sucks,
you're done.
You're not staying.
You got the letter in the file.
You're not staying. And with this job, I learned that it's not about kissing ass, but it is nice to do a favor without expecting anything, because that's how you build those relationships with your director. And you do need your director, because she's your director for a reason. And if I'm your director, I have to learn from her. And I had to humble myself a lot. It goes back to really humbling yourself, because you can reach those levels. You can. But you can't act like you're on that level when the title is not it's not matching.
Oh yeah, and I told
I was an employee acting like I was the.
Yeah, this is why I tell people all the time, and they like, especially coming from a busy lifestyle or having a busy lifestyle, and I know how that can really impact someone, and this is why I tell people all the time. They like, why wake up so early? That's crazy, and I'm like, where else throughout the day? If you think about it, if you just think about your day, where are you actually going to have the time to self-reflect and look introspectively? Where else are you going to have it? That's one thing I learned in the Army real quick, because they used to have me wake up early. For 7.5 years, I woke up at 3 a.m. and did a lot of dumb shit. Just dumb shit. Just dumb. It was just, you would look at it and be like, we're doing this? Why? But one thing I learned, it gave me time to think of why my marriages failed. Why I was still upset, why I was feeling broken, why I was so angry. It gave me time to really put together a plan of what life outside the military was going to look like. It really gave me time to look introspectively and really look at things. And I came out civilian world, and especially coming back to New York and coming back to New York City, there's never no time. There's never no time. You even if you drive, there's no time. Traffic.
One thing about time, and this is why I'm big on make sure who you give your time and your energy.
Yes.
And
yes.
Friends, people you want to inspire, relationships, you know, parents, whoever it is. If they're not bringing value to your life, let it go. If they don't want to change, don't help them anymore. Because if you're putting it out there, but they don't want to give you the other half, let it go. Focus, take that time and that energy you're investing on them and invest it on yourself. You know why? And a lot of people will call this selfish. People will call this selfish, but you always have to make sure you're good, because if you're not good, you can't help others.
No, you can't.
To teach other people about mindset, and your mind is not right.
No, it's a fact.
Like you're like, or even the discipline. Like me, I can't lie and tell people, because everything else I pretty much have it. I'm still learning, still growing, but I pretty much have my hand on it. But the discipline is something I work every single day. What I could share with people is oh, hey, these are my struggles. This is what I'm doing, you know,
Mm-hmm.
to help myself with the discipline. Hey, if you know anything that can help, share it. But I can't sit here and preach to my audience, my friends, my family about discipline when I'm not the most disciplined. No, I'm not.
Yeah, no,
Like, it would be real fake of me.
and it's needed. It's needed for
Everything you do in life is discipline, balance, and consistency.
yes.
And that's why they always say, you want to change something. And I was doing this when I first started this whole journey, like 3-4 years ago, when I left my ex-boyfriend. I started to do this, and they always say it takes 21 days to create or break a habit.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I changed my you know, my tardiness, like me being able to actually be on work on, it wasn't even be on, I work on time. Being on time is late. And I had to realize that too, because everybody would always tell me, and my mother, because I tell my mom all the time, she's so good at her time management. Like,
that's
and
some army shit right there.
I told my mom, you have 2 qualities that you can have any job you want. It doesn't matter if you don't have as much education or experience. You could learn the skill. I was like, but you have 2 qualities that these people will keep you and drop the other person, because your time management, your target, you're great, and your attendance, and you're responsible. And she says it, your word is everything. She has those qualities. I didn't have them. I had to get them and learn and practice and fail and keep going, but I keep going. And now I finally get when people say on time is late. I get it now.
Yes.
People that really, you know, liked me, like directors, teachers, counselors that really wanted to see me be successful, they would always tell me, the Mavis, on time. No, if you're on time, you're late. You're late. It was like, you need to be there half an hour early, an hour early. It doesn't matter if you're standing there. It doesn't matter if your director's not there. It doesn't matter if you're opening it up by yourself. They see this and they start to look at you like, okay, she's responsible.
Dependable. Accountable.
And I learned that with the 21 day. I started just every single day, and I made it into a habit. Just like you could create a habit, you can also and you break the bad habit, you turn it into the good habit.
Yeah.
Just like that, you can also go into a bad habit, because I remember when I was visiting church, and then one Saturday I didn't go, and then the next Saturday I didn't go, and then the next Saturday after that, and I still haven't gone.
No, it's a fact.
I'm being real. I still haven't gone, and it's been no lie, Carmelo. And I love that church. I'm not gonna front. Like, I like visiting it. I like hearing the word. You know, I don't consider myself a very religious person or whatever, but I like going. I like visiting. I haven't gone. I think it's going on a year, and that was a bad habit I created. From that one day, all it takes is one day. One day that I don't even know why. And it could have been the negativity, maybe you know, whoever, whatever it was. But for some reason, that one day, and look at me now.
No, that's a fact, and I love what you just stated. It does take 21 days to create a new habit. It takes 44, I believe, to sustain that habit. And this is where I truly like I on time is late, like the accountability. But here's the real interesting part, and I find it fascinating because I love the way the human mind works. I should have probably been a psychologist or a psychiatrist, but people are undisciplined, I guess is the word, or people are not even willing to be on time for themselves, which is fascinating.
Oh my God.
You're not willing, like a lot of people are not willing to show up for themselves, which is why there's obesity, why there's alcoholism, why there's substance abuse. Why? Think about this. A lot of people are quick. Here's my shirt. I made you this meal. I was here 15 minutes prior. I was there 20 minutes prior. When was the last time you showed up for yourself? When was the last time you was there and gave yourself a hug and thanked that 8-year-old little girl? When was the last time like you chose, I'm going to go do this run, or I'm going to show up for myself and make this mission statement, not because I want to succeed to show the world, but because I want to complete me, or I want to attempt to complete me. And a lot of people are not on time for themselves. And that to me is mind-boggling.
Oh my goodness. I feel like that was really powerful.
It's mind-boggling. People will not show up for themselves. I learned this from veterans. I learned this from veterans that were suffering from post-traumatic stress, how they were willing. Hey, battle, call me if you need me. Call me if you down. I'll be there for you. And I would look at them and I'll be like, hey, when was the last time you was there for yourself? When was it? And they'll look at me and be like, shit, I don't even know. I don't even remember. And I'm like, it's great to be selfless, but now be selfless and being for yourself.
Yeah.
Because it all begins and ends with you. Everything begins and ends with you. Like, you want your kids to be successful? You want your kids to achieve certain things and make it in life? You have to create those things. You got to create those opportunities. You got to create those habits for yourself. Your students, you're teaching. You got to model that behavior, show that behavior. And it's crazy to me how you want people to have compassion and self-love. Do it for yourself. A lot of times we're not willing to show for ourselves.
That's so true.
We're not at all.
That is so true.
Not at all. And sometimes I do believe we look for the external. I'd rather sleep in. Okay, you slept in. Great. Now what? Now half your day is gone. Now half your day is gone. Now you woke up at 10 and you got to be at work tomorrow at 7 and you can't fall asleep by 9 o'clock at night. Now the rest of your day is gone. Now what? Now you're playing catch up.
Priorities too.
now you playing catch up. And now you playing catch up now. Now you're behind the 8 ball. So yeah, the sleep may have felt good. Yeah, however,
it goes back. And you know what's crazy? That one thing, because there's a lot of different like tips, techniques, tips, suggestions, whatever it is that people use. And one thing that I do for myself, like, I'll take a word. So let's say discipline, because I'll take that word and I'll write it on my I have like a board here. Mm-hmm. I'll write it big there, discipline. Or I'll even write it like on my sticky note or index card, just so that I can see it. So I can just see it every single day. And I'll think about it. Like, I'll talk to myself, in my mind. Like, I'll be like, discipline. Like, so I do that every day. And I'll do it with different words, not only discipline, but that's something that I know it works for me. It works for me.
And you got to take what works for you. And that's the other piece too. And so many times we want things that we can't have. I don't want to say unattainable, but the unrealistic. I know people that look overweight as hell, but could get down and run some miles and not get tired. It's genetics, DNA. Sometimes that's just the way life and science works. However, that doesn't mean that you can't still strive to be the best version of yourself. Too many times it's focused on, I want to be the next Cardi B or Beyonce or LeBron.
Sorry, Cardi B, no offense.
I want to be the next LeBron, and it's like, and I say
that. Be you. Like, that's all you need.
Be the best version of you.
Be you, the best version. Get in touch with your higher self. Like, be you.
Be the best version of you.
I get what you mean. Like, and that's what's, oh man, we got to pray for this generation. Cardi B as an idol, come on.
And they are.
Young girls idolize this girl. They idolize her. The other ones, the what's the other ones? Oh my goodness, I don't even know.
The Kardashians?
The period ones. The period.
Oh, I don't even.
The girls,
I don't even know.
Dumb, I forgot, whatever. But they idolize these. And then, but this is a whole other like YouTube video, because this goes into like not only the subliminals, but it goes back to the beliefs you make in your mind, right?
Yes.
But also what you hear, what you see, who you're around. And the lyrics in these like the lyrics in these songs and the music videos, like all you're talking about and all you're teaching our generation, our youth, because shoot, those are supposed to be my doctors. God forbid I get sick when I'm older. And at the rate that, I don't know what's going to happen. Thank God I know a lot about like self-healing and all this natural remedies, because, man, you're talking about sex. You're talking about drugs. You're talking about prostitutes, the strip club, strippers. It's okay to be a side chick, like all of this. Now this new generation, this youth is growing up with those values, and those aren't values.
No, not at all.
Women that are okay being the side chick.
Yeah, and it goes back to asking questions, or asking the right questions, because I'll take Cardi B for an example, and I'll say this. Cardi B is one of the greatest examples of a businesswoman that never went to business school. And people will look at me and be like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, she used her platform to get her to where she is. She knows how to create an audience. She knows how to provide the content that they like, that they enjoy, and she did it herself. Nobody can say they made her. She did it herself. So you can take those good qualities, but also be realistic and tell the youth, there's 1 in a million Cardi B's. Not everybody can be her. She's her. There's only 1 in a million LeBron.
And following in her footsteps because you want this so bad. No, you have to find what works for you.
Yeah, you might not get the same result.
Because even Eve, the rapper Eve, even she came from a strip club.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it works for her. It doesn't work for everybody. No,
it doesn't. It doesn't. For every Cardi B, there's a million people that didn't make it. And that won't make it.
There's a lot of strippers that rap. That's what everybody does now. Rap, sing, models, Instagram models, YouTubers, bloggers, vloggers, whatever. Now they got the OnlyFans. I think I was almost recruited for that. I didn't even know what they were trying to put me. They sent me a message talking about go on Zoom. It's like a positive, something about marketing business. And I don't think it was it wasn't the right business for me. Let's just say that.
Got you.
No judgment. I don't care. Hey, you're making your money. Like,
and those are
works
the things
for you.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't ask those right questions, and it's one of those things of, I always say, change how you look at things, and what you're looking at will change. Take the positive. If you're entertained by it, there's a couple songs that I was like, hey, this is cool. There's a couple other artists and a lot of things. I'm very diversified, but I'm also realistic in my overall, that I understand that there's people out there that need assistance, that require assistance.
Yeah.
And it all begins and ends with you, and just having that accountability and just admitting that you need that assistance to help get you to wherever it is you want to get to and wherever it is you want to be. And I think
asking for help, learning how to ask for help.
Yeah, learning how to ask for help. And those are the things that are going to help. Because at the end of the day, for every, and like I said, for every celebrity that's admired, and it's not, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being a fan. I'm a fan of Joe Rogan. I'm a fan of a lot of MMA fighters. I'm a fan of a lot of CrossFitters. I'm a huge fan. But at the same time, I'm also realistic in the sense of where it is that I want to go with my life and where it is that I want to take myself. And those are the things. Also be mindful of energy. It doesn't understand the good and the bad. Energy goes where you put it. If you're focused on your energy on the drug dealers, on the strippers, you're going to get a lot of drug dealers and strippers. So basically what I'm trying to say is, if you want to be a doctor, you don't hang out with plumbers. It doesn't work. You hang out with doctors. That's just how it works.
That's true.
That's the balance.
Something else I had to learn throughout the years.
That's the balance. And I think once people start realizing those things, I like fit. If you look at my YouTube, I watch a lot of different like MMA, positive, some aggressive folks. A lot of people wouldn't even realize this. A lot of the messages I receive that are helpful to me is this show. It's called Fresh Out. It's Big Herc. He's from Cali. He went to prison for like 10 years, I think, for robbing a bank, federal prison. But he brings former inmates, felons, that have a positive message, and he interviews them. But the knowledge that they spit is so amazing. I could relate to some of it just on the aspect of what I'm trying to do now myself, but just hearing their mindset and how they're changing their mindset from being in a cell that's no bigger than a bathroom to coming out and being successful and starting businesses and clothing and fitness and all this. And I'm like, man, this is positive. This is how you change your vibrations and your aura. I get goosebumps thinking about it, because a lot of people will pass by that channel and or be like, Fresh Out, what the hell are you listening to? Well, who's these people? And I'm like, just because they don't have a PhD does not mean they don't have the knowledge of 10 people with a PhD.
Oh my God, for real. Because it all goes back to what you do with it.
Yeah.
Everyone has the opportunity. Everyone. So
Hell yeah.
what are you gonna do with it? And a lot, even me, going to school, but then also self-teaching myself.
Mm-hmm.
I learned things by myself that I never even learned in school.
That's a fact.
You
Because
know,
it's a curriculum.
yeah, and it was crazy. Like when I started realizing these things, like, and things that are important, like, the mind, body, and spirit. Like they should have a class. I mean, now they're probably starting to. They have like nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
They have yoga. They have like health classes, things like that. But I feel like even starting from a young age, they should
Yes.
have this in the curriculum because
Yes.
just the whole class on mindset.
Yes.
And even when I was going to school, I had leadership classes that was cool, but I didn't really have classes on finance, like
Nope.
credit and
Investing.
more important.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have classes on that. I don't
Yep.
remember. I remember,
Yep.
global history, ELA.
No, see,
Art.
it's true.
Like, am I a
It's
freaking
true.
artist? No. Like, I mean, that was good for the people that realized they had that talent.
Yep.
Class, like, but me, that
Yeah.
was hard for me. Like, where was my class at? Like well, anyways, I took that class in college, public speaking class. So things
Yeah.
like that. And you can self teach yourself, definitely.
Yeah. And I think it's important. I think
That's
it's
the
very
whole system itself. You already.
yeah, and I think it's very important for everyone, anyone who hears this. I really do think it's important for you as an individual to be a sponge and absorb from everywhere and anywhere and everywhere, because you never know what you can absorb in that time. I mean, I listened to Jordan Peterson. This dude is a psychologist. From Jordan Peterson to Wes Watson, who did freaking 10 years in the penitentiary in California and is all about fitness. But their message is so identical.
Positive, yeah.
It's positive.
Yeah.
And that to me is what is mind-boggling. I listened to the black dude. He speaks about the universe. He's a physicist. Forgot his name, but he was on Joe Rogan, and I heard him. I heard him speak, and then I mean, from there, I go listen to MMA people. I listen to Luke Thomas. I listen to Brendan Schaub. I listen to all these different types of people. The concept is the same, which is positive growth, where you want to be, where you want to get to. But I'm also not afraid to listen to someone intellectually that uses these big words or whatever the case may be, and not be afraid to say, I don't know what that means. Let me look it up. To somebody who curses like a sailor, and I also understand what that means.
And the dictionary.
And it's beneficial.
You should know all those words because you grew up with a whole library, encyclopedia, whatever the heck you had.
And this is what people
A through Z, like it's not like nobody has that in there.
and this is
what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. And this is what people need to understand. And I really believe this. And before we get off, I'll say this: don't put yourself in a box. Don't set the limits. Don't say, oh, nobody made it in college in my family, so I don't need to make it. Nah, if that's what you want, if that's what you're passionate about, go for it. Go for it. If you want to be that actor, you want to be that singer, if you want to be that writer, if you want to be that teacher, go for it. Don't put yourself in a block, and don't set your limit low. Set it high. You got one life to live. You got one. You don't get a remake. You don't get to hit reset. It's not a video game.
Nope. And with the time, you don't get time back. So
no, go for it.
And even me now, like, I mean, there may be things that I don't use my time as wisely as I should. Maybe, throughout the years, I've given my time to the wrong people. You don't get that back.
No.
It's always a lesson, because I truly believe that, I no longer am like, I'm not this person that regrets anything. I'm not like that. I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, I regret a relationship or being a friend to this person or this and that. No, because I was there and I was placed there for reasons. And definitely I learned lessons from that.
Yes.
And I also know that they learned from me. It was like something that was just, like we were just feeding off of it from one another. Like, I know that I impacted them in their lives, and I hope that they took, whether it was a friend, an ex, whoever it was, I hope that they took something. Just like I took, the best parts, the good qualities.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not gonna take the negativity with me. That's why you're not in my life. But whatever I learned from you, and and it makes you smarter, helps you grow. There's no reason to regret anything in life because at that point in life, that's where you wanted to be.
And that's where you were.
And that's where you had to be because if I didn't make the choices I did, I wouldn't be here.
And that's the
Now.
and that's the beautiful piece of it. It's I don't think they're really failures. I think they're just lessons. I think it's just the first attempt in learning. I love Abraham Lincoln, a lot of his stuff. I think he was way ahead of his time, but a lot of people don't know he wasn't president. Not president. Sorry, when he ran for governor, he failed. He failed like 2 times.
I heard something like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it wasn't right away. It was something that took its time and something that we had to do. He had to do numerous times. And here's my little one, Gabby.
Hi, Gabby.
Probably looking for me. But this is one of the reasons I do what I do. She holds me accountable. She tells me the other day, why you not going to work in the office? And I said, because of the COVID. And she goes, you could just wear a mask. And I'm like, it's not that simple.
Right? If it was just that simple. Aww.
It's not that simple. Well, with that being said, like, subscribe, share, man, tune in, and most definitely stay positive and shoot out there any questions you may have or anything like that. And most definitely, let's do this again.
Definitely, yes. This was really good. It was not only a platform that we're using, to inspire and share, but also it was really good to vent to each other. Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. Take it easy.
And I learned something too. Wake my butt up at 4 a.m.
Yeah, that's Gabby knows, right? We're gonna get up at 4. We're gonna do some push-ups. Now you stay asleep. I'll do them.
I'll tune into that. So the Mavericks waking up at 4 a.m. Oh, my mom will be like, "Oh no, God came down." All right, bye. Take care.
Right. Take it
I will
easy.
send it to you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, Gabby.